What's up guys, this is Razzie and this is my first video for my campaign, which is Drink Smart. Our topic of discussion will be bottled water. Now at first I was thinking about doing a parody or doing a skit, but at the end of the day I thought this topic was really important, and the only way to get my message properly across is to do my research, explain it to you guys, and we're gonna figure out why this topic is such a pressing issue. So the good thing is that I've done all the readings for you. I will be bringing up some scholars, I will be bringing up some websites, some advertisements, some pictures, you know, things that visually appeal, and not only that, but we're gonna talk about them as well. First things first, I did some research on bottled water from bottledwater.org. I felt like that was the best option for me to find out some basic information. From their last batch of statistics, which was in 2013, I found out that the volume of water bottles had exceeded 10 billion gallons. That is so much water. That is so much bottled water. It is the second largest beverage category in the world next to sodas, and they're saying that sooner or later it will jump to number one. And now you're probably wondering why, Razzie, like why is this such important information? Why do I need to know this now? There are three big reasons why this is such a pressing issue, and I will go into one. The other two, I feel like they can't be argued and they are a big problem. So our three issues are our environment, the cost, and our health. One of the things that we can't argue is that bottled water is terrible for our environment. I just told you that we have 10 billion gallons of water from water bottles being consumed. Think about the millions and millions of plastic water bottles going to waste. I'm sure you've seen pictures before, and if you haven't, you can check one right here. You can check one right here. You can check one right here. I mean, it's everywhere, okay? Now the next thing is cost. So let's say a 16.9 ounce bottle of water is around, say, 30 cents when you buy it in bulk. 5 gallons a day, and that would run your family of a price of about $4,000 per year. The reason why I say this is a crazy number is because the cost of tap water is tenths of a cent. Tenths, literally. So when I was doing all this research over the internet, I found out the cost of bottled water is 700 times more than tap water, 1,000 times more than tap water. It obviously depends on where you live and the situation of how much your water bottle is, and that's not including all these high-end water bottles such as Fiji water and Smart water. But let's get down to business, and I want to talk about the serious issue, which is the health problems with water bottles. And this is my biggest argument, and the reason why it is an argument is because there are tons of people out there that believe bottled water is just as good or even safer than tap water. After doing some research myself, I just believe that is the most ridiculous thing to believe. I do have my bottled water right here. Notice that it isn't open because I'm not going to drink it. I want you to have questions and do research on your own and build on what I'm able to tell you. So why do people in our society think that bottled water is better for you? I think that the media plays a very crucial role in this business. If you don't know already, that's Smart Water commercial. That's Jennifer Aniston. She's a very popular celebrity. The media is trying to persuade you in a way to look past the idea that water bottles may be harmful to your health. Basically what they want is your money. They want to sell you their product. So they're going to do it in the best way possible. So first, we're going to talk about the regulations. Bottled water and tap water are not regulated by the same agencies. One is by the FDA and the other one is by the EPA. So the FDA stands for the Food and Drug Administration, and the EPA stands for the Environmental Protection Agency. Now, the FDA belongs to water bottles. The EPA belongs to tap water. You see, bottled water is considered as food, whereas tap water is considered as water. The reason why this is important is because we have to understand where they're basing their standards from. So basically, the EPA standards for tap water is provided by public water systems. Now the FDA sets bottled water standards based on tap water. So now you're starting to realize, okay, how could bottled water possibly be better if they're basing their standards on tap water, right? You start to ask yourself these questions. I started realizing that bottled water doesn't get checked as thoroughly as tap water. Much like any food, companies are trying to find loopholes in order to get their product on the shelf. It's kind of harsh when you think about it, but they seem to care more about sales rather than people's health. And there are fewer hurdles that these companies have to jump over even in order to get these items on grocery shelves. So now we know a little bit more about the distinction between the FDA and the EPA. EPA should be considered as the agency that is a little bit more thorough in their process of setting standards for tap water. Now, adding on to this idea of putting bottled water on shelves is this reading that I came across, and it is called Factors Affecting the Quality of Bottled Water. They basically came to conclusions about what will affect the quality of water bottles. They brought to light the idea that water bottles are not simply just filled up, placed inside the grocery store, and there you go. We need to know the process. We need to know from start to finish. So they talked about things such as the manufacturing. They talked about things such as where it's being stored. They talked about things such as the transportation of it getting there. All these factors affect the quality of water bottles. So basically the underlying point is that the quality of water in the bottle is not necessarily the same quality as it was once before. When you buy it, it might be a different quality. So since I've already introduced the discussion, I think we should start talking about the quality of the water itself, bringing up the idea of transportation and where it's being stored in between that process of the grocery stores and the manufacturer. We need to talk about temperature. Water bottles, right on their label, say protect from freezing. Now, there's no reason on the label as to why it says that. What surprises me is that it doesn't also say protect from heat, because heating is just as dangerous as freezing a water bottle for your health. You're obviously not going to heat a water bottle on purpose, but how many times have you left your water bottles inside your car that you're driving? Or how about leaving it inside your backpack as you go to school? So these are things that we don't consciously think about. So I took a look at a University of Florida research that took 16 different brands of water bottles, and they tested them by leaving them outside in a high temperature heat. So the result that they found were that BPA was being released into the water. BPA stands for bisphenol A, and that's basically a chemical that manufacturers use in order to create the plastics of the water bottle. Now we know that these water bottles are now made with BPA inside them, and in order to have them released is by freezing them, heating them, or just leaving the water inside it for a long period of time. Also, if you take a little bit of time to read these labels on water bottles, you'll start to realize that a lot of bottled water is simply tap water inside plastic bottles. Then you start asking yourself again, how could that possibly be better than tap water? There's this great article that I found that it's by Stephanie Liberator. It's called Healthwise, and she asks the question, are plastic water bottles safe to drink from and reuse repeatedly? She got into the idea that the bottled water hole that we drink from is very small. This, along with their moist environment, can cause lots of bacteria within the water bottle that we don't see. She then goes into a detailed conversation about the types of plastic. Now, I initially wasn't aware of this, and I'm sure many of you are not aware of this, but if you look on the bottom of your water bottle, there will be a number. This one right here says number 1 right in between the recycle sign. Number 1 stands for polyethylene terephthalate. Now that is a mouthful, so we can acronym that as PET. Now most bottles of water do carry that number 1 in between the recycle sign. You may see other numbers such as 3 and 7, but chances are you will see that number 1 in most water bottles. So aside from BPA, this water bottle contains a metal called antimony. And the reading said that this antimony is a possible carcinogen. And what a carcinogen is basically something that may cause cancer. Now that is a big wake-up call in terms of reusing plastic water bottles or even using them in general. I believe that the more we start to research about this issue, the more we will begin to understand that we can do without water bottles. It's not a necessary part of our lives. So there you have it. But Where can we go from here? How can we do our part? There's so much more information that I need to tell you, but the good thing is that the internet is your best friend, and to make it easier for you guys, I've taken a lot of the links that I've already read and I've put them in the down bar for you guys to read yourselves and get more information. And now in terms of water bottle use, now you know that we should probably be trying to cut down on it. It's not only because of the cost, it's not only because of how bad it is for our environment, but it is because of our health. I would assume that we would like to live great and healthy lives. I myself know now that I will not be drinking much water from water bottles. You can go to tons of stores, buy a bottle that is BPA free, something that is of a different material than plastic, so you can reuse it as many times as you want. The key thing is to take action. Share this with as many people as you know. The power of the people is a very, very big thing. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my argument about the unhealthiness of water bottles. Take care, guys, and remember, drink smart.